Do you want to learn more about the real Belize and listen to locals and expat stories that are actually living here in Belize? Well, you're in the right place right now. You're listening to Belize Talk Radio, and I'm your host, Macarena Rose.
Well, happy beautiful day to you on another terrific Tuesday. And, what are we talking about? Well, this is Belize Talk Radio, and as always, everything to do with Belize. And I know that my listeners know I'm extremely passionate about children and Belize. So what an incredible honor today, or you are just going to be enthralled to listen to these three women speak to you, because their dedication and their lifeblood is everything about the children. And so without further ado, I would love to welcome to the station today the coordinator for the Special Envoy for Women and Children in Belize, Mackeva Westby. Welcome.
Hello, good morning. Or good afternoon.
Whatever time it is, you know what? This is an international show worldwide, and so we have listeners in Indonesia, Malaysia, all over the world. So it is good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. So we'll just cover everybody, won't we?
Yes.
I'm just...
Hello.
I love to be able to share how beautiful you are. Just beautiful. I've known your name. I've known of the beautiful works you've done, and then we get to see that you're just a beautiful woman. So thank you for being on the show and sharing your beautiful spirit too. Can I ask, can you give us some information about the Special Envoy for the Women and Children? What is that? You're the coordinator of that. What does that mean for you?
Well, for me personally, it's a privilege to be working alongside the First Lady of Belize, Mrs. Simplis Barrow. She's a very strong woman, knowing what she has gone through, knowing where she came from, and what she has planned for the future of our country. So for me personally, that is a privilege. It's an honor. Being a program coordinator for what she has to do, it fulfills my life and the future that we have for our country, knowing that with every right that is made, with every project that is undertaken for our women and for our children, that gives me that feeling of fulfillment that I am there for every step of the way, making Belize a better and a brighter place to live in.
And you truly, truly are. And, a lot of that has to do with, the activities that you all coordinate in doing that. Can you share with the world, what is it that you all are busy doing?
Well, currently, we just launched a book for children, My Body is Precious. It's a book on my body's precious, and it's just that first stride that the First Lady is undertaking to stop child sexual abuse. We know that the subject in itself is very sensitive, and it just so happens that most of the time that education is pushed through, it is for adults and for teachers to have them educate their children. However, because of the sensitivity of the nature, most of these times these discussions are kept behind doors or whispered about. Mrs. Barrow, being the strong and determined woman that she is, found a venue, a different way of letting people know that this is happening and we have to protect our children. And by involving the children to let them protect themselves, I mean, what better way to have done it? So we had the book. She co-wrote the book along with Mrs. Starla Bradley Acosta. And by doing that, we had the National Institute of Culture and History producing the book in the form of a play. So it's very child friendly. The children are so receptive of it. We finished our last day in San Ignacio, and wow, the crowd was amazing. The children sang, they danced, they were very, very much enthused by the message. It's done in a playful way, but it's also educational. And the fact that the children received it the way we wanted them to, we could not have been happier with the result.
Well, what's phenomenal about that is truly the way to change and to make great strides in anything to do with our future is through the children. And you all are doing that every single day. And so the children are discussing this and open with this. It's fabulous.
Yes, and that's a whole essence of having the book My Body is Precious. It's for children, and it's a way of educating them, to let them be aware of what is happening, to help them save themselves, to let them report to their parents that, Mommy, this is happening to me. Let them take that right, that privilege, and carrying on what to do. After each show, after each play, each child got a book to further the education. So yes, they saw the play, but they were able to read the book, to answer the questions that have been bubbling their heads, to carry that book to their mother and to their father and be like, Mommy, please explain this to me. So each child has been given that gift, and we want to help protect that gift because their body is precious. And if it weren't for Mrs. Barrow, I'm not sure that we would have taken this first step in such a short time. She really pushed for this, and I'm very proud of her.
Well, it must be a wonderful thing to be able to work every day, and something that is so powerful that you're making a difference. And
definitely.
And children get empowered, and then they have their own voice when they see other people caring about them. So what you're doing is tremendous. So
yes, because we've been all over the country. She made sure that each child was exposed to her initiative, letting them be aware of exactly what is happening. We went from Corozal to Punta Gorda, all over, making sure that each child was involved in the process of education.
You all must be exhausted.
Well, like I said, it's fulfilling, so we put the exhaustion under the rug.
That's so true, because they say, what's the sure way to know that you're not really truly working? It's doing something that you love and you're passionate about. So
definitely.
The tired is a good tired. So
yeah, it's very good.
My hat's off to you. So how long have you been the coordinator?
Actually, I've recently been assigned to the position in February.
Well, I think it was a very, very good choice, because your spirit and your passion really come through.
I think so too. Thank you.
And I do know that, quite frankly, is that the studio has been has been in contact with you. You've been so incredibly efficient, and, the coordination that you've been able to put through together. Obviously, you're very passionate about this. So the name of the book is absolutely perfect in my mind. It is just amazing. How did you come up with the name? You want to have someone else share that later?
I think I'll leave that question for Mrs. Barrow, because
no problem. We'll save that question. So, good listeners, you got to hold on and listen to find that out, right? That's
She's passionate about it, so I think I'll leave that to her.
You're adorable. Mackeva, you are just adorable. And what's interesting about that is you're just giving us a great teaser. So the listeners have to stay tuned to hear the First Lady tell us how the name of the book came around. Mackeva, I want to say my hat's off to you for being the coordinator. It's a great choice. What a great position you have. And keep on doing the great, phenomenal work, because I know as we hear more during this show that, the empowering of what's happening for the children, because truly it is all about the children. It's y'all are giving the voice to the children that otherwise would not have. And when you don't know something's wrong and you don't know that ahead of time, you can't fix it. And you all are doing that. You're making sure kids know. We're
making sure they know by any means necessary.
And isn't there's a lot of books that have been passed out too? What do you estimate so far?
I would say about 25,000.
Oh my Lord!
Yes.
Oh my.
Yes, and they got pencils too. Yes.
Wow. That is phenomenal. Well, I want to thank you for being on the show. I know that we're going to have Delanie Bain when we come back, but I really appreciate you being on the show, and I want you to come back and call us anytime that you have any news or anything you want to share with people, so we can keep the word out there for them.
And I will definitely take you up on that offer.
Okay. And I definitely mean it. We're gonna take a short break here on Belize Talk Radio. You're listening to the Overseas Radio Network. Welcome back, everybody, to Belize Talk Radio, and I am your host, Macarena Rose, and as always, we are talking about Belize. So, what a wonderful first segment we had, quite frankly, with Mackeva talking about the whole book that has just come out and has been released. And so I wanted to speak to Delanie Bain, because I said your name right, didn't I?
Yes.
It's really important to me. I have a funny thing about that with a strange name. I always like to say people's names correctly and care to. So, Delanie Bain, you're the assistant coordinator for the Special Envoy for the Women and Children, correct?
That's right.
What does that mean? What do you get to do?
Well, it means that I get to do a bit of everything. I get to be involved in all the projects which is fun to have a nice variety in your workplace so it doesn't become dull. So, and it's really, like Mackeva said, it's really an honor to get to be a part of these projects that Mrs. Barrow has, because it's positive work. It's for the betterment of the country on a whole, you know, and to protect our women and our children and uplift them, not just, you know, not just to protect them, but to uplift those that are in need. And so it's really an honor.
I would say that you have a wonderful job, and to be able to work with a First Lady such as, quite frankly, that you have, it's the most magical thing. And to do the work of something that is to benefit children, hats off to you. Hats off to you. So tell me, what are some of the other works that you've done that was before the book that the Special Envoy for the Women and Children was involved in?
Well, along the lines of commercial sexual exploitation of children, she has also advocated for laws for the implementation of legislation that makes for stronger penalties for cases of commercial sexual exploitation, and that clearly defines what are the criminal acts related to commercial sexual exploitation of children. We also are working on the Inspiration Center, which will be a multipurpose facility that provides services for children with disabilities that are currently not available in Belize, like physical therapy, speech therapy, occupational therapy. And it will also provide after-school programs that will also include disadvantaged kids, the poorer kids, so to speak, in Belize. And it will the goal is to create an inclusive environment. So we'll have the kids with disabilities, who will, of course, be a priority, but they will also be interacting with the non-disabled kids. And so they learn how to be around children with disabilities without that stigma and without, you know, the staring and the pointing and so on. It becomes a normal thing for them. And so that's one of our major projects that we have going on right now. Another one is the Pediatric Intensive Care Unit to be constructed at the KHMH. That's the Carl Huchner Memorial Hospital. Sorry, we get used to these acronyms.
Of course we do.
Yes. So that's the National Referral Hospital. And what Mrs. Barrow is hoping to do there is to construct a new wing to house the Pediatric Intensive Care Unit and Neonatal Intensive Care Unit to provide proper care for children and babies who are critically ill. And that's something that's very, very much needed right now, because those services are lacking. And, you know, we will literally be saving lives with this unit, because babies that are born with critical illnesses, I mean, their chances of survival will increase so much. And kids that are diagnosed with illnesses that aren't treated in Belize, they will also have a fighting chance as well. And so that's another major project. And like I said, our work targets the entire country. Everyone benefits. And that's the beautiful part of it.
Well, I'm really excited because I was just I'm in Florida. I was just speaking to a group in Daytona, Florida, professionals that were like, oh, well, what kind of things can we bring to the table and how can we help? And so, quite frankly, there is a need, and there is a viable place for people to really help, and it's for the right reason. It's for the children. It's and it's always about the children. I always believe that. It's for the children, and you obviously do empower that. And so this is your job. Can you say, wow?
Wow.
Wow, that's phenomenal. So you wake up every morning and you have to just love that you get to go to work and do something that really matters.
Yeah. Yes.
I agree.
Great.
I agree. It's like when they asked me to do this show, I was like, what do you want me to talk about? As long as it's what I'm empowered by, and that is, you know, the subjects we talk about is everything about Belize that's powerful, positive, you know, affirming things, you know, people making a difference, and, you know, quite frankly, you all are making a huge difference. Wow. Did I hear Mackeva right? She says 25,000 books have been passed out, and the book release was just the 15th of April? Is that right?
Yes, the 15th of April was the launch.
I mean, that's amazing. That's impressive. And so, can people also go online and buy the book?
At this point, we're still working on the avenues of distribution to follow the launch.
Okay.
We, of course, need to find funding to print additional copies, and we will be working on how the book will be available to the general public after. So at this point, it's in the schools. We will be distributing them to like libraries and community centers and so forth. And I'm sure online will definitely be a good option.
I think so too, and I know a lot of people in the literary. So let's figure something out, because that's a very empowering book for children to have the ability worldwide to be able to read. And it's a subject that's very important, and that, again, until you educate someone, they don't know any better.
Yeah, exactly.
So you all are doing that. And how is it for you when you see the kids get excited about this?
Oh, it's fun. It's really, really a great feeling when you see them and they're singing and they're enjoying the songs. And some of them don't even wait until they leave to start reading the books when they're handing them out, and they're just like walking out the door and and they're buried in there already. So it's really exciting to see how well it's received.
I wonder how interesting it is when the children go home and their parents are like, "Where'd you get this?" I got it from the Special Envoy. Yes, I can see it. It's fabulous. I think it's awesome that you have a job that you get to do something that's so incredibly, well, quite frankly, enriching to your spirit, but that you know that you're enriching the kids around you. So you're going to stay around and continue the good work, right?
Yes, for sure. Definitely.
Delanie, I want to thank you for being on the show today. You've just been absolutely an honor and a pleasure to interview, and please come back on the show again.
Whenever you want us to.
Absolutely. Thank you. And we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to hear from the First Lady of Belize. You're listening to Belize Talk Radio on the Overseas Radio Network. Welcome back, everybody, to Belize Talk Radio. And wow, what an incredible segment. And getting to hear from Mackeva and actually Delanie talk about their job as being coordinator and assistant coordinator of the Special Envoy for Women and Children. And wow, about this book release. Well, without further ado, I thought that we would get straight direct from the Special Envoy the information that we weren't able to find out ahead of time, like, for example, where the name of the book actually came from and how it came up with. And those things are kind of important or fun, I think, tidbits for us to know. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Mrs. Kim Simplis Barrow, the Special Envoy for Women and Children, who is also the spouse of the Belize Prime Minister, Dean Barrow. Welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
It's an honor to have you on, actually. And, Belize Talk Radio, I'm really passionate about getting anything out there about Belize is a positive. We only do positive news and positive, wonderful things, and everything you do is positive. Wow.
Thank you. Thank you. That's what we try to do every day.
It's what you do, and I can quite frankly say that we have a great choice of having you as the First Lady. It's an honor that we actually have you, because you are incredibly passionate about doing good things, and no, without further ado, especially the book, right?
Right. That's one of the many projects that we've been working on for a number of years. The book is very special for me because it really, I have been through the experience of having to have the good touch, bad touch talk with my own daughter. And I have many friends who have children, and I know even growing up it was a difficult subject to talk about with us. So I just really wanted to create a piece that would aid parents, really, to make the conversation a little bit easier about sexual abuse. Though the book is very child friendly and it's easy for children to read, it really, really helps parents to talk about sexual abuse. As I'm sure you know, it's not an easy subject to talk about. So
no, and quite frankly, many people won't talk about things that are uncomfortable, even if it's to educate and help their children. So you're giving them the tool to have that conversation.
Yes, that's the objective, really.
And actually, even more so, even if the parents still aren't comfortable, the children have the book and they get to learn. And so the conversation is being had with adults through the venue of the book. So I think that that's powerful. What's been your experience as you've been passing out these books?
The experience has been positive, which is really, really good. Again, it reinforces that parents want to talk about it, and children need to have age-appropriate information. And so this has been a very positive experience for all of us. I mean, it's an achievement. It's a huge accomplishment, and we're very happy to be able to not just help children but help parents through this.
I think it gives them permission then to have that conversation, and they have the tool to have the pictures and to have it written in a child-friendly manner that they can have that conversation, and that's how you elicit change, is by having those conversations with children. Because who's going to change things from forward? They're going to watch role models.
Right. It's very important because communication starts with the parent. So it also helps open that conversation, the communication between a parent and a child. I think that's a very important aspect of relationships with parents and children. So again, it's feeding into the whole development and growth of our children.
How do your children feel about the work that you're doing and the book?
I have one child. Her name is Simplis Barrow, and she was very proud. I must say she's a tough cookie. She's 8 years old, but she's very proud of what I do, and has even went a step further. And last year she wanted to help children because she's seen me doing it all these years, and so she set up with a group of her friends a limeade stand to help children with cancer. So that was also a proud moment for me to see that come to light, that come to a reality actually.
So you can actually see your daughter is getting the positive role model from you, and she's doing something with it. So you've taught her that it's not you just talk about it, you do something.
Right. That's important.
So how did the conversation start about the book, and how did you decide to do that with Starla?
Well, my focus as Special Envoy for Women and Children has been primarily with children, and we've had a number of reported cases of child sexual abuse, and I knew that we had to address the issue hands-on, and it started with our legislations. So there were a number of things that we had to do, and I started out with hosting a symposium on the commercial sexual exploitation of children. I thought it was very important that we do that we address it, and that we try to get the tourism sector involved in helping us to combat the commercial sexual exploitation of children. And along the lines, we just thought about, okay, what else can we do to, one, help parents, two, educate our children. And I just knew that it had to be through a book. It had to be through a way of educating our children in a child-friendly manner. The targeted ages for these children is between 7 and 10. Wow. So it's this book really it's a storybook. It's a interesting, upbeat, very colorful book, and that is exactly what I envisioned. I wanted to be an attractive piece of material that kids could gravitate to and would like to, even if it's just to look at it. Once we get them to look at it, right, they want to read it.
And they may not even be able to read yet, but they actually will be wanting to still be drawn to the book. Maybe they will want them to read.
Well, we encourage parents to read to their children for those kids who can't read. So that's also another aspect of the whole project.
So would you share with us, since we kept putting everybody off on how you came up with the name of the book? They kept deferring to you.
Actually, the name of the book is really in line with teaching our kids at an early age that their bodies are precious. And for them to embrace themselves, whether they're black, they're white, they're fat, it's not a good word, but thin, well, whatever shape or size, whatever the issues they might think that they have at that age, it's about positive reinforcement. Yeah. That's what it's about. My body is precious, full stop. There's no denying that.
I love that. My body. I love that. My body is precious, full stop. That's powerful. Because it is when you say that, when you say my body is precious, you can feel it.
Right. And that's what we want. We want our children, we want all of our children to start from a very early age to appreciate themselves, to appreciate their bodies, and to know that their bodies are precious, and that they need to take care of their bodies. And if they take care of their bodies, then someone else might come into their life that will, respect their bodies, and because they see that they're respecting their own bodies, then no one will be able to take advantage of them so easily. So it's really, that's a message that we want our kids to grow up saying, my body is precious and you have no right to harm me.
That's a powerful statement. I like that. So you're giving kids a voice and empowerment for sure. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, I would love to hear more about the center and the telethon, because I think it's important for people to know how they can find you. Do you mind? You mind holding on for a quick commercial break?
Sure.
Thank you so much. You're listening to Belize Talk Radio. We're going to be back in just a moment with the First Lady. You're listening to the Overseas Radio Network. Welcome back, everybody, to Belize Talk Radio. And, before break, when we were speaking to the First Lady, I don't know how to address you, and I don't want to be politically incorrect. I know that you're the special... Okay, thank you. So, Kim, I want you to please share with people, how can they find you? How can they get on board and get the information, as to the things that are going on, and they can actually find out when you get those books available for everyone else, which would be fabulous, because I know lots of schools would appreciate them in the, all over in the Americas and worldwide. So how do they find you?
Well, we have a Facebook page, which is like the easiest way to find us now in today's world and technology. And the Facebook page is Special Envoy Belize. Again, Facebook page Special Envoy Belize. We also have a website, which is www.specialenvoy.bz.
Okay.
And we also, and let me repeat it, it's www.specialenvoy.bz. And we have another page, which is the www.belizeinspirationcenter.org.
Belize Inspiration Center. Now, we haven't talked about that yet.
No, we haven't. And the inspiration, sorry.
No, I want to hear more. Go. It makes me excited. So share with the world.
Oh, the Inspiration Center really is a center that would cater to persons with disabilities, children with disabilities in particular. And it's really a center where they will be able to go and get therapy, the therapy that they need. We don't have such a facility in Belize as yet. I saw the need for a facility like this from the time I was appointed Special Envoy for Women and Children. I had worked with persons with disabilities. I have been involved with Special Olympics Belize, and I'm also Global Ambassador for Special Olympics. So it was very important to try to find a way to bridge that gap, and to try to send a clear message that persons with disabilities have rights too, and that persons with disabilities have a rightful place in our society. I believe that they need to get whatever therapy it is that they need in order for them to become functional members of society, or a little more functional than if they wouldn't get the therapies that we will be able to provide shortly. I must say the Inspiration Center is coming along very, very well. We're already on the building phase of it. We held a telethon last year where we were able to raise $1 million Belize.
Wow.
That was a huge accomplishment.
Wow.
Never had I imagined, even though I set the goal, but I never thought for 1 second that we would have been able to do it. It was, it was a tease, and so so we're very excited this year. We're having our second annual telethon on June 1st. And we're hoping that we'll be getting a lot more support, not just from Belize, but international.
I agree with that. And that was part of Belize Talk Radio. We're international. So that if people join your Facebook page, they'll know what number to call in on, right?
Right. They can, for now, they can call in at 501-223-1941.
Okay.
I will repeat, 501-223-1941.
And remember, everybody, if you're dialing in, it needs to be the 011 if you're coming in from international. So if you're calling from, well, we've got listeners all over the world, for goodness sakes. They have to remember that part of it, so they don't call, Arkansas. Which is very funny. We have a gentleman that calls, by accident to try and get to Belize, and he actually calls Arkansas, and it's very funny. Thank God the person on the other line is very nice. So, but your contact information is very important because what you're doing matters. And Frank, I know that you know that, but you're the goddess of it. You're the inspiration, and inspiration comes.
Sure.
Well, I would reckon to say yes for sure, and we're all very blessed in Belize for sure with you. The thing is that inspiration does come from the Latin word in spirit, so that the reason that you chose that. Is very powerful to me because it is in spirit that you're doing all of this, and it shows.
Well, these children have inspired me. I think I have learned more from them than they from me. So I'm only doing my part. I feel, and it's one step towards bridging that huge gap that exists. So I'm looking forward to the opening of the center and to seeing these children go to the center. One important aspect of the Inspiration Center that I didn't mention is that it will also serve as an after-school center for children who want to do computer classes, or we might be able to offer like ballet classes or music classes. I think especially in the area where the Inspiration Center will be located, it's very important that we offer those services. Again, in line with promoting inclusivity, it's a huge part of whatever I do. I strongly believe that inclusiveness is very important, and especially for the differently able and able to be able to come together and go to a ballet class or take music lessons. I think that's very important that they learn from each other.
Absolutely, because as always, we have more similarities than differences. And so how fabulous for kids are kids, for them to just allow to be their own selves. But to be immersed together, it's nice to not separate. Separation never works.
It doesn't.
No.
It doesn't.
It doesn't. So I think it's powerful what you're doing. Do you wake up in the morning and go, wow, I'm stepping out of bed and I got a great reason to do it?
I get out of bed and I say, thank you for another day.
That's a very powerful thing to be able to say. You know what? More people could learn from you for certain, because we need to be grateful for every single day. And really, you're giving women and children permission to raise their bar and want to become part of the community and part of their country. And so you're making people proud. And when people see other people doing good things, then they have that as a role model.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Yeah, I do believe that's we all need to do our part. I believe that, and I try to encourage people to do theirs, and it doesn't have to be the same thing that I'm doing. We all have a role to play. I strongly believe that we all have a role to play, and it might not be, you can do your part in your own way. It can be, today I'm going to my son's school and I'm going to go read a book to the class. That's your part. You know, you do your part. If we all do our part, then we'll make the world a better place. So.
Yeah, you all are really doing that already, which is really powerful. So you're right. Everybody do something positive every day with kindness.
Right.
Sounds simple to me. May everyone raise their bar and do it, because they have an inspiration like you to listen to that's doing it every single day. I want to thank you for being on the show today. It's an honor and a privilege, and I would love for you to come back before the telethon, even if it's just by phone, that we can talk, so that way we can remind people the phone number, or have Mackeva call in, because I would love to be part of being able to make sure people know to call and help on the 1st of June.
Okay, thank you so much. It will be our pleasure to be back.
Thank you.
To share our more information with your listeners and viewers. So thank you for having us. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And next time I'll see you in person by the grace of God. I'm doing my part here, though, in talking and educating about Belize. So I'm doing that. Now I am very thrilled to have something else to be passionate about, because I speak, every speech that I do on Belize is always 2 foundations. Well, I have just absolutely found my top 3 for sure. Absolutely. So it's a privilege. I want to thank you. Have a fantastic day. You've been listening to Belize Talk Radio. What a wonderful show. Listen to us again as always. I'm your host, Macarena Rose, from the Overseas Radio Network.